Why doesn't the Catholic Church make Mass more interesting or more entertaining? Some parents don't like the fact that the Mass is maybe hard for their children to understand, and it's not entertainment. There are other kinds of church services in maybe Protestant denominations and so forth that are much more entertaining. For me, it's really quite the opposite. What I'm going to is the celebration of Christ himself. That is what I want my children to have. And so it's not entertaining. It's Christ, and it is his sacrifice. As a mom, I love taking my children to Mass and just resting in the fact that I am giving them the faith of the church since the time of Christ. The liturgy itself is rooted in the first decades after Christ. Shortly after his ascension, the apostles and other disciples established time for worship. And it was really pretty clear what those worship times would be like. They would be times for prayer and times for the Eucharistic celebration, because Christ had specifically said, do this in memory of me. And this means the Last Supper. So the most fundamental thing about Christian worship is the remembrance of the Lord's Supper, the Last Supper of Christ before his crucifixion. That is what we just have to lean into because Christ himself commanded it. And so when I take my children to a Mass, I'm so relieved that I'm doing exactly what Christ said to do, and it's right there in the Bible. I love the Mass because it's not dependent on just one person's interpretation. It's not this pastor, that priest, that minister or missionary. Some are smart and inspired, but others are maybe not so great. But I feel a tremendous peace when I'm in church, and I can really pray on a level that's about as deep and powerful as I ever pray. And I think my kids absorb that. My children have learned about that over time. It's not really until they're ready for confirmation in their teenage years that they come to understand the breakdown of the Mass, what's happening in that service. But I think even an infant, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, they can really sense if you are prayerfully engaged in the Mass, that's about the greatest treasure that you can give your child.